Okay, good evening. I would like to call the regular Twinsburg City Council meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, April 26th at 7:30. Shannon, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Scafidi?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mrs. Labby? Here. Mr. Post?
Here. Okay, next we'll have the invocation of the Pledge of Allegiance that I will lead. Please rise. Father, we ask for guidance and direction in all city matters before us tonight. We give thanks to be able to be together. Let us continue to strive to make our community a better place. Help us to work together, and may we give our best always. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next we have the approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting on April 12th. Anybody have any discussion or any changes? May I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as submitted.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Mr. Fury made the motion. Any discussion? Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes. Okay, minutes past 7-0. Next we have the awards and presentations. Tonight we have Mayor Yates will present a proclamation to Larry Finch.
All right,
Mayor,
Larry, come on up.
Larry.
All right, so we've got a proclamation tonight for Larry Finch. Larry Finch is retiring and has spent 26 years with the city?
9 as a consultant.
9 as a consultant. So he has had his hands involved in a lot of the development that we've had in the city, especially in our industrial area, our commercial area. He's played a large part, a significant role in the redevelopment of the Chrysler site, which for the city of Twinsburg could have been catastrophic had that just become a mothballed auto plant closed down. He was instrumental in getting significant dollars to clean up the environmental issues that were there, as well as assist in the recruitment of businesses that are now occupying Cornerstone. So I know it was a huge project that he's really proud of. He's worked a lot on the redevelopment of our downtown area, which hopefully we're continuing to make progress toward. I know he's probably going to have to come back into town to see that through. But you know, Larry's become a friend and someone that you know, my background in zoning and the legal issues that I used to fight with municipalities back before I was mayor. I've really learned a lot though coming here from Larry and his expertise in planning, and he's really added a benefit to the city and the department. And so I have a proclamation that I'd like to read tonight. I was going to have Lynn read it, but she said she probably couldn't make it through the proclamation. So, whereas the administration, council, and residents of the city of Twinsburg, Ohio, would like to express their appreciation to Larry Finch and honor him for his distinguished career with the city of Twinsburg and dedicated service that spans over 23 years. Whereas Larry began his career with the city of Twinsburg in 1999 as the city's community development consultant and was promoted by former Mayor Kathy Prokop to Director of Community Planning and Development 6 years later. He has also served as the city's Economic Development Director and Executive Director of the Twinsburg Community Improvement Corporation. Whereas Larry has led the Department of Community Planning and Development through many challenges, changes, and developments. His expertise and commitment are unparalleled, and his efforts have seen adoption of numerous planning documents, build out of the Cornerstone Business Park, and the creation of the Twinsburg Community Improvement Corporation. Whereas, as stated by Mayor Prokop, quote, Larry is a man of many interests, skills, and abilities, all of which he used to advance his expertise in land planning and economic development. He was instrumental in assembling the team and program that led to the redevelopment of the Chrysler property. The success of Cornerstone Business Park is largely attributed to his leadership. The Twinsburg community will always be grateful for his contribution to this important redevelopment projects. And whereas I've expressed, quote, Larry has been a valued asset to my administration. He has assisted the city and acquiring and retaining many businesses that are the core of our industrial sector. Larry has also progressively led the city in its green initiative and its pursuit to reduce our carbon footprint. I've learned a great deal from Larry during my time as mayor, and he will truly be missed. And whereas Larry has been a model of dedication, integrity, and cooperation in performance of his job as the Economic Development Director for the City of Twinsburg, under Larry's leadership, the City of Twinsburg has benefited from numerous grants, recognitions, and distinction, and a continued reputation for community excellence. His tirelessly led efforts for redevelopment of central Twinsburg and his dedication of work ethic has served as an exceptional example for all city employees. Whereas on behalf of the entire City Council, I want to express sincere appreciation to Larry for his loyalty to the City of Twinsburg. Now, therefore, I, Ted Yates, Mayor of the City of Twinsburg, express my well wishes and congratulations to Larry Finch and wish him much happiness as he begins this exciting new chapter in his life.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Next we have audience participation.
First, we have Don Sikowski.
Excuse me, I'd like to make just one announcement. We are going to follow the council rules. Council rules state that no more than 3 persons will speak on one specific item if other issues are listed on the sign-in sheet. So please be cognizant of that, and we do a 5-minute rule, I believe, as everybody knows. So if there's more than 3 people that want to speak on one issue, maybe collectively give that duty to somebody else that there's a 4th. And let's get the 3 people up here, and then we'll go on to the other issues as well. Thank you. Sharon.
Okay. First, we have Don Sikowski.
Good evening, Dawn Sikowski, 2445 Old Mill Road, Hudson, Ohio, 44236, City of Twinsburg. As usual, I'll make it short and sweet. We've been attending these meetings for quite some time. I think everyone here on the board, on the council, knows our concerns. We as a neighborhood have invested a few $1,000s recently into kits to test our wells. A few $1,000s because we're worried. We're going to gather that information. Planning Commission's aware of it. It was discussed at the Planning Commission that perhaps the builder could foot that cost because of our concerns. That was denied. So to protect ourselves and our families, we've decided we're going to invest our own money into it, and we're doing that. That will be done here in the next few days to a week. We'll have our information, and going forward, when the build continues, we'll be testing it again, and we will determine what this is actually going to do to the neighborhood and to our homes. I just wanted to make you guys aware that we're that serious. This is very concerning for all of us. As usual, I'll keep it short and sweet. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sally Gaydosh.
Thank you, Council, Mayor, Law Director. I did speak at the caucus about supporting the people on Old Mill Road. My concerns about an ineffective, inefficient, incomplete zoning code that is determining the future of our city. I've had many court rulings, and all of them have not been satisfied. And I can assure you I will get them satisfied now. Now that I see what I've done, what I've tried to do, try to make our city enjoyable, keep the height of the industrial buildings at a level that is at least acceptable whenever we're in a residential area. So anyway, I've spoken about that to you at the caucus. Now I want to speak on another issue. And trust me, I have to keep changing glasses and it's not getting any better. I have copies of some of this I would give to you. My concern is about the CIC. I've watched this CIC grow into something that on last Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday, I watched a video and I couldn't believe what was happening. I looked at our downtown area. It became a blaze of red. What is that? That's the demolition. That's a remodeling of our downtown area. No public hearing, no vote. Just this is the way it's going to be. We're getting ready to dig the shovel pretty soon. So I'm going to share with you my concerns about how this happened. And I did share this with the law director, and he didn't agree with me on all issues, but he was going to review what I was saying. The subject is the Ordinance 16/2013. Please note, my concern is regarding the assumed authority of Twinsburg City Council's unilateral decision to incorporate a state enabling law 1724 into the governing laws of the city of Twinsburg without a public hearing, no voter approval, in conflict with our home rule guarantees and protections provided in the Ohio Constitution. The following excerpts are taken from the Ohio Planning and Zoning Law, which we shared with the law director. Ohio devised a code contains planning, zoning, enabling legislations. This is important for counties, townships, and non-charter municipalities. We are a charter city. And this was the legislators that adopted 1724 enabling law in 1977. 1724 is a state enabling law that provides for land use for counties, townships, and non-charter municipalities again. Twinsburg Ordinance 16/2013, without public hearing, voter approval, approved to accuse, this is what 1724 of the state legislator says. It may infringe and in conflict with the mandated duties and powers extended in charter cities. It may infringe and conflict because charter cities are unique. State laws cannot inflict laws. We had to invite them in. We had to invite the state law to come in. And we did, by ordinance, not by vote of people. It's nowhere in our charter. It's nowhere in our zoning code. But we have this mass demolition of our downtown area because it's the CIC. This is in conflict with the duties mandated in our Charter 7A01, Charter 711, and Zoning Code Section 10303, 10305, and other supporting provisions certified, identified in the official zoning code. Charter 708, Planning Commission shall have all power to consider and all land use matters that pertain to land use, and shall be referred by the Planning Commission to the council, referred, all plans, not some, all. Charter 10305, the duties and powers of the Planning Commission is to propose and present to the administration the provisions of this zoning code. This zoning code, wherever it is, we're still trying to identify it. Zoning Code 10303 says council shall make such laws that are necessary regarding the use of land, with implied power stated in the zoning code. Again, the zoning code. Shall act upon proposed amendments to the code. This is council. Shall act upon the proposed amendments to the code, text and map, with final authority taken after a public hearing and after approval of the voters as provided in Charter 7A01. Zoning Code 110305 says Planning Commission shall have all power
Time.
to consider the following. To adopt and recommend to council a comprehensive plan for the physical development of the city. To adopt and recommend the redevelopment and area and districts for present reservation business areas plan shall include the location of streets and other public parkways, recreation areas, and other public places. That's the duty of planning. I understand Ordinance 16, 2013, legally composed by Law Director Maestros, was adopted by council and certified to the Secretary of State that it is not in conflict with our Constitution. Our Constitution, Article 18, is our power, our charter. I believe that Ordinance 16 is in conflict with our constitutional powers. I think it's important, extremely important, to note that all of the times we've been in court, it's all been one subject. Matter of fact, Mr. Law Director, you asked me, what were your cases in court? And I didn't define them as annexation, zoning, whatever. Abuse of power, abuse of government power, and abuse of public spending.
Thank you.
I think that's where we are.
Your time's up.
I do have copies of what I said, if you will. I gave, the ones I gave to the law director, I'd be glad to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Bruce Baldwin.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, Councilor Scafidi, I want to thank you again for your vote on the rubbish. And second of all, talking about those telephone poles here a couple of weeks ago, that one by Romeo's, it looks like it's just ready to fall. Who is responsible for these poles? Somebody's going to get hurt here sooner or later. 2.5 years now, there's been a pole sticking out of the ground that was taken off of the car in front of the stone house. Is anybody, who is actually responsible? It looks bad, somebody's got, it's been there 2.5 years. Who's responsible for this?
The utilities are. And
I know
we're
they're-
working on that. I believe we're working on that.
Oh, you'd probably rather deal with me than you would them, I understand that. Okay, in order to safety towns, anything new come up, because I'm a firm believer, accident is safety is no accident. I mean, it's a good thing to have. Blue Top Motel, I brought that up 7 or 8 times. We talked about mowing the lawn last year. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. You have an ordinance on the lawn, so why do you have an ordinance if you don't mow it? Mentioned the accident 2 weeks ago. I stopped to help the guy at get-go that knocked the front wheel loose on the car. I couldn't do any more than help him. I called the police to help him out. Last week, I'm coming back from Highland Road. There was another car 25 foot from there with the front wheel knocked loose again. It's a bad area there. I know before one went almost into Bob Evans there. There's holes in the road that have been there. I brought this up almost 2 years ago. Somebody's going to get hurt there. And I couldn't stop to help the second person because of the traffic in back of me. It's just a shame that, why isn't that being fixed? There's a hole in the road, you can stick your foot right through it. So anyway, good, thank you, good evening, thank you very much.
Thanks for your comments.
You people of Little Mill, remember what you had.
You know.
Thanks for showing up. A lot of people don't, they sit at home on their.
Next. Next, we have Michael Turrell.
Always hate following that guy. So good. Mike Turrell, 9936. That's not my address. 9930 Forest Lake Drive. I'm going to piggyback on Mr. Baldwin there just a little bit on the on the road situation. Ravenna Road is bad. When is it going to get paved? I know it's getting done this year. I know. I don't know. I know Mr. Scafidi. I know Daisy. I know Shannon drives across that stretch of road, but it is bad, and it's needed fixed since 2015. that I can recall. That's when I first started speaking on it. But I'm very glad that's getting done this year. One thing I did notice, I've noticed this for about the last few months, on my way here tonight from Glenwood Preserve, from Glenwood Drive, coming in this direction, it's bad, but it's not as bad as it is going the opposite direction, going towards Cuyahoga County, let's say. That section of road is really bad. I don't know how many of you may remember this. Daisy, you've been here for a while. Mr. Scafidi, I don't know when you exactly, I know you've been on council for quite a while. I don't know when you exactly moved to Twinsburg, but Ravenna Road used to be 2 lanes through there for a long time. As a kid growing up, somewhere in maybe the 80s, 90s, there used to be 3 lanes, like up to Cosmos and Damien, and then tapered back into 2 lanes, and somewhere along the line, we added that 3rd lane. It is that 3rd lane that would be on the east side, the northbound lane, that is really, really bad. A lot of you were here on council when we did Ashdale. You guys remember the Ashdale situation? Not anybody's fault up here, but we were just getting a resurfacing done. They found out that the base was gone, turned into a complete reconstruction. I know Mr. Scafidi remembers well because they had to shelve a couple of water line projects that year to pay for that because the road got torn up and it's got to get done. And sometimes you got to move things around. I'm bringing this up just for the sheer reason that might it be prudent before they start stripping off the top layer of that, to maybe do some core tests to see if there is something going on down deep in that road, because that road, that 1 lane is way worse than the other 2 lanes, which are still very bad. I keep saying bad because the road is terrible, but it might be worthwhile to see what it takes so that we don't get that thing all torn up and then get in that same situation where we got a road that's stripped down and now it turns into a complete reconstruction, so we can at least be a little bit ahead of that curve possibly. I don't know where my time's at, but I'm going to try to talk quickly here. Safety Town. Glad to hear that we got some money dedicated for Safety Town. Very sad to hear that it's not going to happen until next year, but I did speak with Ms. Jennifer Bettinson, is that correct? Had a great conversation with her. I have a small army of volunteers that have communicated back and forth with me that are willing to donate labor, donate money. I got people that want to sponsor buildings. This thing, I was kind of hoping that we could fast track it. We could have it by June if you throw enough time and money at it. But I was hoping maybe for August. I was very inspired by the fact that Ms. Bettinson said that she's taking a really deep dive into this thing. She's taking it on as her pet project, and she wants to do this thing right, and she's not going to rush through anything, so that is cause for the delay. They are still going to have the Safety Town program, she explained to me. Excuse me. It's not going to be at that location, no. They're not going to use the Safety Town as it is. But I definitely told her, make sure you take my number down when the time comes. We can get some people up there. I would like to do it with, like I said, the small
1
army of
minute.
volunteers and donations and everything that we have. Am I at time?
1 minute.
1 minute, yay. But yeah, I think that we could do a lot with volunteers. I'm going to round out my last minute here on the whole redevelopment thing downtown. I honestly think this whole idea is absolutely absurd, ridiculous, crazy. A lot of this administration, not all of you, tried our hands at road design. Roundabout was an absolute disaster. Still dangerous as hell, but we had 1 accident in 2.5 months in the 5 years previous to that, and then in the next 2 years we had 2.5 accidents per month. I don't know what the ratio is, but it's like 5 or 10 times, I don't know. It was a great increase. Yes, there's a learning curve, but it's still bad. There's a dip, there's a hump, there's site issues. It's just
Time.
a disaster. 30 seconds, sir? No?
Go ahead, 30 seconds.
I appreciate it. Restaurant management, we tried our hand at that. It cost $70,000 to $90,000 a month. Not good. The restaurant business is the hardest business to run. So we got out of that, and then we got someone to come in and take the place, so now we've got a brand-new building that we built for $4.2 million, jumped up to $6.5. Now I think it's teetering around $8 million was the final cost. We're renting it out for $6,000 a month. It's still costing us $31,000 a month for the mortgage. That's another losing proposition in the real estate business. The city is supposed to be in the business of taking care of the people, and all we did was we gave someone a really good deal on a brand-new building, and that to me just is not a good track record. We need to get these things straightened out first before we take our hand at ripping up our entire downtown with the CIC, which I personally believe is absolutely illegal in our charter. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes. Last we have Lori Facina.
Lori Facina, 2950 Cannon Road, Mayor and Council. First of all, I want to commend our city gem. This woman, Sally Gaydash at 93, knows more about our charter and our zoning than anybody in this room. And on that note, I happened to watch a meeting, a work session for council last Tuesday, and I was alarmed. I was alarmed that we have set the downtown on paper so far on fire. And that the boundary, the eastern boundary of that new redevelopment core is 4 houses down from me, takes away Mr. Baldwin's gift to the city, a park, comes into this lady's backyard within feet of her house. And where was our public meeting? This was just unleashed on us, and the pages are sitting over there. And what bothers me further about this is that a lot of this was done with the counsel of the former law director, who left in January, with our planning staff, one of whom is leaving in 2 days. And I have to wonder which of you is next. Who might be, what possibility that we're going to lose another person who was involved in looking at what our city is going to be like in the near future. And most of the people in this room will be sitting here after many of you have or will go. So I want you to think about that. I live on historic Cannon Road. It's one of the most historic areas in this town. But that shouldn't matter. It's a matter of who you serve, who you took an oath to serve when you came to this room. The tax-paying citizens of your community is who you came to serve. And I would really like to please implore you to consider that and to consider our input on any more of this change and redevelopment, these visions that you've put forth. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we have this evening.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to council communication committee reports. Let's start with Mrs. Letty.
Thank you, Sam. Last week I attended the planning commission meeting. Concerns about gumbo, which are still very concerning. Hopefully they'll be making some determinations in the near future. I attended a council work session and the finance meeting today. That's all I have.
So, yeah, thank you. Mr. Bellin.
Good evening. On Tuesday, April 19th, I also attended the council work session where we had a presentation from Larry Finch about some potential downtown redevelopment. There were no plans set forth. I attended this evening's finance committee meeting. We had conversations around Summit County city comparisons from a tax perspective. Of the 14 cities in the Summit County, we are 12th out of 14th in terms of our inside millage, or in terms of our overall millage, excuse me. We talked about, we are going to maintain, Finance Committee suggested that we maintain the current tax budgets moving forward into 2023. So that is 0.3 mils of police pension, for the charter, 0.3 mils fire pension charter, and 2.4 mils for the police and fire, which was voted on this last November. We also, again, we had conversation around the tax budget. The next Finance Committee meeting will be on Tuesday, May 24th at 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers. The next meeting of the Safety Committee will be on Tuesday, May 10th, also here in Council Chambers. The Gulf Advisory Board meeting will be held on May 17th, 6:30 p.m. here in Council Chambers. And the next scheduled meeting of the Public Works Committee will be on Tuesday, June 14th at 6 p.m. also here in Council Chambers. Nothing further this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walker.
Good evening, everyone. My committees have not met yet, and this coming Thursday, I do have a community relations meeting, and I did attend the Finance Committee meeting, and that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Under my report, the Board of Zoning Appeals will meet here tomorrow at 6:30. There is one item on the agenda. I did attend the Finance Committee meeting earlier that Mr. Baldwin spoke of. Thank you for your minutes of that you just spoke to. And you mentioned the Public Works and Public Safety. Two things. At this time, I forgot to mention too, we had Mr. Turrell speak earlier. The Ravenna Road project will start in June, okay? And oddly enough, this is a true story. Today I rode down there and I was counting which side would seem to be, worse than the other. Although I don't see it as bad as you do. It needs to be repaired, there's no doubt about it. But my inspection was the complete opposite. The side I thought was completely different, yeah, but that's neither here nor there, just conversation. Just wanted to bring that up. But it'll be done in June, or started in June. Lastly, I want to make a comment about Larry Finch. Larry, I know that these are the last couple days, and I want to just wish you well in your retirement. I thank you for all that you've done for the city of Twinsburg. I believe that as long as I've been around City Hall here, there's been a Larry Finch, and I'm appreciative of that. I think I've learned a lot. I've heard a lot when you speak. Your presentation last week, as Mr. Baldwin talked about, I thought was very well. I appreciate that, and so just thank you for all you've done. And I think there's a couple projects here that I really credit you to, and Cornerstone would be one of them. And I don't know that that's really a success story, and I think that you had a big hand in that project. So thank you again for that, and best of luck to you and your family and good health always. So thank you, Larry. And then I want to wish my colleague here, Bill Fury, happy birthday on Thursday, I believe. Okay, so happy birthday, Bill. Hope you have a good day.
Thank you.
And that's the end of my report. Scott Barr.
Good evening, thank you. Last Monday, April 18th, the Planning Commission met for work session and regular meeting here at 7 o'clock in Council Chambers. A couple items on the agenda. There was a lot split and consolidation for a parcel at 9879 Shepherd Road. Basically, the homeowner wants to consolidate two lots into one. It needs to go before the Board of Zoning Appeals. There are a couple of issues there about some existing structures, driveways, things of that nature. So she was given some direction, and hopefully will be appearing before BZA for some further discussion on that. Moldbright is doing a building addition at 2222 Highland Road. They also need a lot consolidation as they're expanding onto an adjacent piece of property with a connector between the two buildings. So they'll be seeking that approval, but everything looked good with that plan as well. And then there was a lot of discussion and public participation regarding the old mill site at 2321 and 2387 Old Mill Road. That's the Project Gumbo that we're all familiar with at this stage of the game. The developer had a representative there. The engineering firm representing the developer was there. And there was a healthy exchange of back and forth. Mr. Cohen did a nice job of allowing everybody to speak their piece. So although it was a long meeting, I think there was a lot of useful information that came out of that meeting. It was The site plan review or vote on it was tabled for discussion at the next meeting. With that said, I know May 2nd will be our next planning commission meeting, but I don't think we're scheduled to have one on May 2nd. So realistically, looking at the calendar, we are probably looking at tentatively Monday the 16th to be determined, but if that does take place, we'll be here at Council Chambers at 7 p.m. Certainly we'll put that information up on the website, keep everybody up to date on that. On the Project Gumbo site, I will just repeat what I said at the Planning Commission meeting, which is for all interested parties involved, I think that we need to be neighborly. The Old Mill area was described to me as a neighborhood, and somebody said just because they don't have sidewalks and an HOA doesn't mean they're any less of a neighborhood than any other neighborhood in the city that does. Conversely, we've got a landowner that wants to develop property lawfully. I think if we could all just be neighborly. Philosophically, if we could all be neighborly in our daily lives, I think that we probably all get along a lot better. So I will leave it at that. Happy birthday, Mr. Fury. Larry, best wishes on your retirement. Thank you for your many years of service to the city of Twinsburg. Public service is often a thankless job, and I appreciate you and enjoy getting to know you. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fury.
Thank you, and good evening. The CIC will meet this Thursday, April 28th at 5 p.m. And I've been a member of the CIC for most of the time it's been established. The CIC is working on a coordinated downtown project where the old school properties were, and that's it. That's what we're looking at. That's all we're doing. The CIC has absolutely nothing to do with the historic preservation areas that were presented at the work session a couple weeks ago. That's not a redevelopment of downtown. It's to utilize a historic building to allow you to gain property tax without raising the taxes of the homeowner for increases in value. With that money, it has to be reinvested back into that zone to both the historic building and the infrastructure that you have around that. So there's no development. It's simply establishing a historic preservation zone that allows you to collect some property tax to invest back into the neighborhood. So I would also like to wish you a great retirement, Larry. I appreciate all your support over the years, and job well done. Thank you. That's all I have.
That's it. Mr. Post.
Thank you. It's just convenient. It's called to the wrong meeting. Short report here. Environmental has not met since our last meeting. Our next Environmental Commission meeting is on May 3rd here in Council Chambers at 7 o'clock. I know there was a park cleanup on Saturday. I was not able to make it. I was out of commission all last week. I was very sick. I know Mr. Yates will be speaking on that a little bit. I did attend the finance meeting today that Greg spoke about, so thank you for that. Public Works, we met, we talked, Amy Moore gave a presentation. One of the things I liked that we talked about, we discussed bike trails a little bit, and that talking about maybe that for next year, maybe looking at getting some grant money. The next Public Works is on June 14th, which is my birthday, so I'm looking forward to that birthday celebration, and hopefully you can all tell me happy birthday too on my birthday, so that'd be great. That'd be great. Looking forward to that birthday. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Let's move on to the mayor's report. Mayor.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. A few things that are going on. I did attend the cleanup day for the Environmental Commission. I want to thank Chuck Minacci and the group that organized that. We had a nice, it was a small turnout, but we had a nice turnout. Spent some time around the city. Cleaning up, I mean, I think we had about 23 bags of trash that were collected. And so, but anyway, I just want to thank them for that. I know they're planning another one in October, so we're looking forward to that one. Hopefully we'll get some more people out to help with that. I did attend ribbon cutting of the Twinsburg Academy of Self-Defense. Owners Tim Loomis and Frank Charlillo have relocated and into a new space, so I just want to congratulate them on just basically sustaining their business through COVID and being able to make it bigger and better by moving into this new location in Twinsburg. We had a job fair on Monday, and so we are still looking for a few seasonals, mainly lifeguards. So if you know someone that would be interested in lifeguarding at our outdoor pool, please direct them to our city website. And then Rock the Park, tickets go on sale May 2nd. So our first concert is U2 Foo Fighters cover band. So those tickets are going on sale. So look forward to that on May 2nd. And then I just want to say just a few words about the CIC and some of the things that were brought up here tonight that are just categorically incorrect. We formed the CIC in 2013, I believe, so I guess to allege that the CIC and that the city would create an illegal organization and operate it for 9 years is just really absurd. The fact that the CIC is driven by statute. It has a board that a majority of the board is not controlled by the city, and there's a purpose for that. And its focus has been on the redevelopment of our downtown area. And when we look at the downtown area, and we look at, we talk about what the residents want and what the residents have asked for. When you look at the survey we did a year or so ago, one of the top topics and exciting comments that were made by residents was the redevelopment of our downtown area. And that's something that, again, we've got a developer that responded to a request for qualifications. We had a few and was selected. We're still in conversation. That developer is still excited about the potential project. There's been no site plan developed. There's been no proposal for the balance of mixed use and residential, which will be both part of that downtown area. It's in its really early stages. We're looking at different districts that were part of the economic development plan. You've got a TIF district that's going to go down in that particular area, and then you've got historical districts that are being formed, and as Bill kind of shared, to really benefit streetscape and those particular historical sites. But these meetings are public. There's been allegations in the past that these meetings are private and no one can get in. They're public, so anyone can attend. I invite you all to come. We've got one this Thursday. But this is something that, we have operated based on statute. It was Mayor Prokop and council, I was on council at the time, formed this. It's been a tremendous tool in other communities to really help spur needed development in certain areas, and that's the same goal and mission that Twinsburg has. So I really just want to kind of correct the record, so to speak, on some of the things that were shared here tonight, because sometimes we have difference of opinions, and sometimes you're just absolutely incorrect in your comments, and so and I believe tonight was the second. So with that, I'll move on to, we have one report tonight, and that's Miss Sarah.
Good evening, Council. Our April income tax revenues were up from last year. We were up over $2 million, where last year we were at 1.93. We are still down from pre-pandemic levels, but year-to-date we are up over last year. We're at 7.9, whereas we were at 7.3 before. And then over on the IT side of things, the Redshift Access Control project is moving along. We've been able to cancel some of the contracts with Johnson Controls, so over time we will start seeing savings on that. And then the sign for out front of City Hall for the replacement for the marquee. The marquee. I wanted to say kiosk. The marquee is being delivered this week, so we're excited to get that done. And then we're also going to be working with dispatch on that 911 phone system we've been talking about for a while. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. That's it, Mayor?
That's it.
Okay. We'll move on to legislation. First, we have Ordinance 30, 2022.
An ordinance amending Chapter 111, Council of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Twinsburg regarding council rules.
This time I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 30, 2022. Is there a second?
I second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 30, 2022 passes 7-0. We have ordinance 37, 2022.
An ordinance adopting the document known as the Comprehensive Plan for the Municipality of Twinsburg.
Okay, at this time I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 37, 2022. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Any discussion, council? Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 37, 2022 passes 7-0. Ordinance 39, 2022.
An ordinance authorizing the sale at auction of certain personal property owned by the city of Twinsburg and no longer needed for municipal purposes.
All right, and that stands on its second reading. Resolution 49, 2022.
A resolution appointing 2 members to the Parks and Recreation Commission and declaring an emergency.
Okay, and I mentioned those names earlier. We have Carol Miller for Ward 4 and Robert Coleman for Ward 5. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 49, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I will second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Any discussion, council? Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 49, 2022 passes 7-0. Resolution 50, 2022.
A resolution creating the 2022 Twinsburg Districting Commission and appointing the qualified electors to said commission and declaring an emergency.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 50, 2022 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and we did again talk about this earlier. The residents being appointed are Leonard Taylor Jr. from Ward 2, Paul Levine from Ward 3, Lori Stewart from Ward 4, and Mark Little from Ward 5. The Ward 1 candidate was already appointed in Resolution 25, 2022, and that was Susan Clark. So we have a motion and a second. Right? Okay, no discussion. Call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 50, 2022 passes 7-0. Resolution 51, 2022.
A resolution acknowledging council's receipt and review of the monthly financial statements submitted by the Finance Department for January, February, and March 2022.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 51, 2022. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fury seconds. Discussion. We do this every quarter, so this is repetitive. Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Scafidi?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Okay, Resolution 51, 2022 passes 7-0. We'll move on to unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous. Mr. Barr.
Nothing for me this evening, other than wishing Larry a happy retirement, and happy birthday to Mr. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bellin.
Thank you. As has tended to be the case over the last several years, when the weather turns, there were several cars broken into in Twinsburg recently. Ring activity in the community shows activity between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I've had conversations with the chief of police, and I would just like to remind everybody to not leave valuables in your car and please lock them. Most of the activity is they come in, they're looking for unlocked vehicles, and if they are locked, they're moving on. So please just don't leave anything in your car and make sure they're locked. Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Post.
As the guy who had his car stolen in the city of Twinsburg here, I want to second that. And I just want to say, Larry, congratulations. You've earned it, and you're always very dedicated. That's what I think about you. I think of your dedication to the city. So thank you for that. And I have nothing further. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Fury.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Walker.
I just want to thank the residents for coming out and to let you know that we are listening to you. Number 2, happy birthday again to Miss Sharon, who sits in the back. Happy birthday, enjoy. And also, Larry, God bless you. I've known you probably since you started here, and you've always been a perfect gentleman and also a professional with me. So God bless you. I'm praying for strength and traveling mercies for you as you enjoy this well-needed vacation and location. So thank you, Larry, for being my friend.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Laddy?
Yes, thank you. Parks and Recs will meet today, Thursday at 6:30. I also wanted to announce the Garden Club will be having its annual sale. They didn't have it during COVID. So they're back on May 7th from 9 to 12. It's at the Historical Society Barn. It's a great way to get your perennials. I will be donating some perennials from my garden there, as I used to be a longtime member of the Garden Club. Also, Bill, happy birthday. And Larry, God bless your retirement.
That's it? I just want to revert back to Mr. Post real quick.
Hey, one more thing, I just wanted to remind everybody who's here, if you want to order your flags from the Rotary Club, you see them around the city, and those orders end, I believe, at the end of this month, in just a few days here. You can go to rotaryflags.com, $40, and you'll get 5 flags put in your yard and removed throughout the year. And it's a great fundraiser, and the Rotary does a lot of great for the city. So I'm proud to be a part of that, and order your flags.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, Mayor.
Nothing further from me this evening.
Okay, Mr. Vazana.
Thank you, Mr. Scavidi. First off, I'd like to congratulate Larry on his retirement. And second, happy birthday, Mr. Fury.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Bucci-Gross, any final comments?
Yes, happy birthday to Mr. Fury, a long and happy retirement, and congratulations to Larry. And also, Mark is going to be rolling out some promotional materials for the We Celebrate Small Biz program for this year, so keep an eye out for that. That's all.
Okay. And last but not least, Mrs. Collins, any final comments?
Just happy birthday, Bill, and congrats, Larry.
Okay. And we have no absent members, so at this time I would like to thank everybody for attending and thank all those who are watching on TV. And we appreciate you. Have a good night. The council meeting is ended.